This is more about living in the time of the coronavirus epidemic. Huge demonstrations in my city, thousands of people, marching, chanting, very peaceful, no arrests. People who were there said it was like being at a festival. So the social cohesion I was looking for may have been right there. It looks like protesters who were arrested for violating the curfew are going to be granted amnesty. I have no problem with that, but we are also being told that the costs of the protest to the city are going to be substantial, $500,000 in police overtime alone. So I think all of the people who were arrested should be required to pay a fine, $20 or $100, to help pay for this. That seems fair. Of course, that will never happen. These folks are loaded with principles, but no money. They have high ideals, but they're low on cash. Some people want the entire police force replaced in Minneapolis. I hear a lot of talk about systemic racism, police brutality, and corruption. Despite the overtime pay, this is not a good time to be a cop. Now that things have settled down some, I believe the curfew is no longer in place. The protesters are taking their high ideals to meetings, and they are not asking for, but demanding, change. That change could be anything from a complete revamp to more modest sets of reform. Immediately, when you get into specifics, you get into money, and that changes everything. The city, as the panhandler will tell you, has no money. How he will pay for the past week of riots and marching and police overtime, I have no idea. The police say they are currently underfunded, of course. I will say all the police vehicles on display during the past week look brand spanking new to me. Straight off, the protesters wanted several $100,000 diverted from the police to funding for the Civilian Review Board. When there is no money to begin with, it's damnably difficult to allocate or transfer any funds. This is when the world of high ideals runs into the world of practical realities. It results in a sorry mess that pleases no one. Of course, I think these problems, all of them that we face, are huge and serious, persistent, and demanding resolution. But I watched a show on water, the water on our planet, fresh water, the lengths we go to get it, how we squander it, dam it, how we take it for granted, and how it will come back to destroy us, sparing no one, unless we find a way to protect water. We are all a little more than a charming elaboration of water, and we have sucked our poor planet almost dry. Lack of potable water will make our other problems recede into mere squabbling. This show was massively depressing. We are so unwise. We are so good at being bad. Okay, so you have a substantial problem of that magnitude. Put that up against this. I heard that the protesters who were arrested for violating the curfew will be given amnesty if they agree to sign a paper saying they will not sue the city. And here I thought they might be required to chip in and help. Silly me. They'll look at that deal and say, "Go ahead and try me, and then I'll sue." The field mouse said that he was in favor of protest, but not violence. I'm glad he spoke up on that. I was having trouble deciding. He also said that he was establishing a task force to ensure the hiring of women and minorities in police departments. That makes his 161st task force. He also has 27 strike forces, along with other commissions and blue ribbon panels. The field mouse also said that he was going to look into it further, but as of now, the coronavirus numbers are going up. This is bad news, and unfortunately reports from other states that have opened up are also bad. Arizona is saying they have 7 times as many cases, and 80% of the ICU beds in the state are filled. The Pander Man delivered a eulogy for George Floyd, talking about what a wonderful man he was. Floyd was buried today. Al Sharpton took the moment to tee off on the trumpet. I heard an attorney say that he thought it would be a very bad, even a dangerous strategy to say anything negative about George Floyd in the trial. For instance, he said he had heard that Floyd had heroin in his system during his autopsy. But that has nothing to do with the crime itself, he said. I would never bring it up in court. So, his defense would be to lay down and take it. That's how bad a crime he thinks it is. And millions of people totally agree with that. There's social cohesion for you. Justice has already spoken in this case.